Howdy Polymaths! Today we're going to get deep into the human existential condition. Join me on a grand tour of our species Rarity as we take a look at the path of the human, as we look at what are the odds of your existence. For instance, what are the odds of my dog choosing to drink water just then? Let's find out. So we're going to take a look at a wonderful illustration from the website Lifehack. They start off by saying, what are the odds that you exist? What are the chances that you have the personality that you have? You're the person that you are. What are the chances of your parents meeting and all these things? So let's take a look here. This is going to be part of the Universal Embodiment video series as well, where we're exploring the meaning crisis, as it's referred to, and other prominent issues of taking on moral philosophy and existential philosophy in the modern age, in the 21st century, and how we can apply that to our lives and get the most out of our lives, and best integrate with the world that we inhabit. So let's start small. What is the probability of your dad meeting your mom? Though the world was smaller 20 years ago, your dad could have met almost 200 million of its women. But over 25 years, he probably met around 10,000 women. So the odds that your mom was in this small group and actually met your dad is about 1 in 20,000. But we know how tricky love can be. What is the probability that they stay together long enough to actually have kids? It's a 1 in 10 chance that they talk to each other, and 1 in 10 chance that they go on a second date, 1 in 10 chance that they keep dating for a while. And it's a coin toss as to whether or not they stay together long enough to be in a relationship in which they can upbring an offspring. Thus, the odds that your parents actually meeting resulting in kids is about 1 in 2,000. So far, the combined odds of you being here are about 1 in 40 million. That's about the size of the population of California. Now here the article claims that things are going to get pretty interesting, so let's strap in and see what's next. It says, why? Because we are about to deal with eggs and sperm, which come in large numbers. Mom has about 100,000 eggs in her lifetime, whereas dad makes about 4 trillion sperm in the time period that you could actually be born in. Now what are the odds that the 1 egg met the 1 sperm, which together made you and not your brother? Apparently, it's 1 in 400 quadrillion. That's a really big number. Look at all of this zeros. We have many zeros here. That is approximately the volume in cubic meters of the entire Atlantic Ocean. But we're just getting started. Because your existence here, now, and on the planet Earth presupposes another supremely unlikely and utterly undeniable chain of events. Namely, that every one of your ancestors lived to reproductive age. This is going all the way back not just to Homo erectus and Homo habilis and sapien, but all the way back to the first single-celled organisms as well. You're a representation of an unbroken lineage of life going back 4 billion years. Pretty neat, if you ask me. We have 1 in 2 odds that a child will be born, grow, and reproduce per generation. So what are the odds that your lineage remained unbroken for the length of human existence? We have 1 in 2 odds that a child will be born, grow, and reproduce per generation for 150,000 generations. Now that 150 generations, this really breaks things up into these periods of time, these chunks of conceivable, lifespans, and there are periods of this where this overlaps with different versions of our species. And many biologists and philosophers have talked about the human experience as being something that's consistently morphing. Heraclitus definitely put a lot of emphasis on that 2,500 years ago. This idea that man never steps in the same river twice. Every generation is different, and every one in the generations is different. So the chances of that happening and you being in that line of lineage that remained unbroken for that time is 1 in 10 to the 45,000 power. That's 10 with 45,000 zeros after it. And it gives you a little image here. It says, how large is that number? Well, that number is not just larger than all of the particles in the universe. It is larger than all the particles in the universe if each particle were itself a universe. 10 with 45,000 zeros after it. That is an insanely huge number. Look at this. Look at this. Just look at this. Are you kidding me? So that's pretty big. But it continues. The right sperm also had to meet the right egg for every single one of those ancestors. That is 1 quadrillion multiplied by 1 quadrillion for every generation. So the odds of the right sperm meeting the right egg 150,000 times are 1 in 10 to the 2,640,000th power. So let's add it all up. 10 to the 2,640,000 times 10 to the 45,000 times 2,000 times 20,000 equals 1 in 10 to the 2,685,000th power. By comparison, the number of atoms in the typical male is about 10 to the 27th power. The number of atoms making up the entire Earth is about 10 to the 50th power. And the number of atoms in the known universe is estimated at 10 to the 80th power. So the little lung sacs, like the little, I forget what they're called, the things that line the insides of our lungs that expand and contract, if they were to be stretched out, that would be 1/3 the size of a tennis court. The physiological sigh, which we'll talk about in other episodes, that's why that works, or that's one of the major functions of that, is to expand those air sacs with the double quick inhale, with the and then the long sigh, like the long controlled breath out. that reduces your heart rate literally by having the lungs press against the heart, which is how breathing works. Our heart rates increase slightly when we're breathing in, they decrease as we're breathing out. And there's other parasympathetic and vagus nerve responses going on with that as well, but I won't get into that. This makes it easier for the body and the bloodstream to rid itself of carbon dioxide. And as we've explored in other videos, we are between the atom and the planet, or our planet. We fall pretty much in the middle of those two scales, which is also pretty crazy to think about. I'm sorry I keep saying it's crazy to think about, but all these things are crazy to think about. This is the case. These are facts. And of course, as we explored in the retrospective gratitude video, you can store 100,000 galaxies behind your fingernail at any one time. As the Hubble Deep Field Telescope showed us, that image contained 10,000 galaxies in that one beautiful image, and that takes up about 1/10 of your fingernail. So at any given time, there's 100,000 galaxies behind your fingernail. Really cool thing to think about retrospectively and to be grateful for, i.e. retrospective gratitude. So this beautiful diagram concludes by saying, think of it like this. It is the probability of 2 million people getting together, about the population of San Diego, each to play a game of dice with trillion-sided dice. They each roll the dice, and they all come up with the exact same number. For example, 550,343,279,001. So it's the probability of 2 million people rolling that number. So the odds that you exist are basically 0. Now go forth and feel and act like the miracle that you are. Inspiring message. Quite true indeed. You are quite a unique and interesting perception vessel that has the capacity to wield its consciousness around on this planet how it sees fit. And the tools for us grasping our capacity to do so are getting better and better refined as technology and as communication increases and speeds up. This is one of the things that I want to explore more on this channel, is how we can get the most out of this Homo techno or techno-sapien lifestyle that we're quickly approaching. We've already doubled our lifespan since the 1800s, and it's looking like the tools that we have for getting a good hold on our neuroplasticity and our neurobiology and our ability to properly manage our sleep and exercise and diet and things like that. All that's getting better. Like, we're all seeing that increase. So I want to try to take advantage of that as well. And let us find more ways to be able to appreciate life from these grand perspectives, like get this huge macrocosmos view of life and this microscopic microcosmos view of life. And in each instance where it can be appreciated to embody those kinds of lenses, I want to encourage us to try to embody them via universal embodiment. At least that's the process of applying this. Anyways, I really appreciate you watching if you made it through this video. A lot of these videos are just to get conversations going. I don't mean to lecture or anything. I don't really know what I'm talking about. I just do independent research on my own. But I highly appreciate any feedback from everyone in the comments. And if you'd like to see more content like this, I highly encourage you to subscribe. And if you can share this, if you think this video is worthy of doing so, I'd appreciate you doing so. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Polymath Park out. Viewers can access the Polymath Park Patreon here. Programs like this exist solely by donation, so feel free to contribute whatever you feel this video is worthy. Anything's appreciated.